Wow, we'll go. It's going to count down 15 seconds. Well, we are live, folks. Welcome, welcome. Today, the title of today's talk is AI Tech Stack for Vibe Coded Apps, owned versus rented. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to have a session on Obsidian. So hang tight, folks, as we get started here. I think, Jim, just to let you know, we are hearing some feedback off yours. So I don't know if you have something to mess around with. So yeah, we're getting a loop. So all right. So hey, welcome to our Saturday night session. This is going to be some fun. We're going to have a good time tonight. We're planning to go on for maybe 90 minutes or so. We got started a little bit late, so we'll be done by 10. Hopefully all of you guys won't you won't turn into pumpkins. We're at that age. I still refuse to believe that. But let's go around the horn and let's introduce ourselves. And we're going to start with Zakia, ladies first. Then we're going to go Christian, and then Jim, and then myself. So give us a small introductions. Where are you dialing in from, and why are you so awesome? Or what's something, one thing great you want to share? And because today we're all about greatness. All right, Zakia, take it away.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm excited for this episode tonight. My name is Zakia Ringgold. I am the founder of Business Tech Lab, where I help small business owners unravel the tech for running their business. The reason I'm so interested in this conversation tonight is that I have successfully vibe coded 14 different apps for author platforms, for conversation intelligence maker platforms, and all of that. However, I have been bitten by the don't build on land that you do not own. And I'm currently living through that right now and learning some valuable lessons that I'm hoping that I can share with all of you tonight.
Amazing, amazing. Where are you dialing in from?
And we are dialing in from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
All right, good old Philly. All right, I hear they have a football team called the Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles. As soon as you say it, go birds. Whatever you need to hear right now, I can do all of those for you.
Oh no, shh, be quiet. I'm a big Miami Dolphins fan, but that's okay. We're going through one of
So
those
this is
things,
where we don't say anything about cheeseheads, is what you're telling me.
Oh yeah, who cares? All right, Christian, go ahead and introduce yourself. Where you dialing in from, and what's something awesome that you want to tell us?
Christian Coda. I'm a couple of things. One is a chapter leader for the Atlanta AI Collective. Also co-founder of a consulting company who helps small businesses effectively apply AI to grow their business. And I'm calling in today from North Georgia. And something awesome. I would say that I have, through lots of trial and error, I feel like I have a good balance of new technology applied to business that works, because there's lots of ways to lose money with technology. So through lots of lessons learned, I feel like I have a good perspective these days.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Hey, we've got people already commenting. We've got some people from Twitch. Hey, by the way, we're live streaming on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on X, formerly known as Twitter, and also on where else did I say I was gonna LinkedIn, Facebook. We're not doing Instagram. We're having a little bit of issue there. X, Twitch, and YouTube. Those are the ones where we're at on tonight. Hopefully you can catch us there. And so, Jim, introduce yourself. Where you dialing in from, and why are you, something awesome about you, or something awesome that you're doing?
Hi, I'm Jim Slavik. I'm the one on the West Coast today in the panel, but I'm from the Portland area and have been building AI and tech communities on the west side of Portland, and co-sponsoring and co-hosting some hackathons, and have started up a coaching and consulting business along with some of the other things that I've been doing.
All right. Amazing. Good to see you out there. And I will tell you that Jim and Christian have both won hackathons. So one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast. So, and both are non-programmers. How about that? And also something about Zakia you don't know. She's also a non-programmer, and she's vibe coded 14 apps. Folks, it can be done. There is nothing under the sun that can't be done, right? So we're here to prove that. My name is Bezran Hifo. I am convening this awesome, amazing talk. I am dialing in from Northeast Georgia. And if you know where they filmed the movie Deliverance, that's about where I'm at. My county touches North Carolina and South Carolina. I tell everybody I am with my LinkedIn says Atlanta Metro, but I'm actually 2 hours northeast of Atlanta Metro, but I visit my mom all the time, so that's a big plus. Something that I'm pretty stoked about, and some of the future things is I'm a headhunter, so I have my own executive search firm. About a little over a year ago, started a career coaching program, and that has evolved into where I'm about to, in the near future, embed and actually have something around entrepreneurship, because people in my career coaching program have been like, hey, maybe I don't want to go back to corporate America. And that's really interesting conversation and deep questions to ask. So that, along with, an AI effort I'm working on starting to where we can take people that are currently on the job market, but we can provide special training in AI and have them specifically ready in their profession, so they become AI enabled in their given profession, makes them extremely marketable. So more on that. Many people here on this stage are going to help me with that, and I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, just a lot going on. The last thing I'll say, I always give a shout out to my 1 Million Cups chapter here in Northeast Georgia. We have an amazing group, and we started that a little bit over a year ago, and looking forward to rolling off as the leader in March of 2027. I'm excited because I'm doing a lot of succession planning in that, and that's very exciting. But I love getting together with other entrepreneurs and having deep discussions. And, all of us here, if we talk to ourselves, people think we're weird. But when you get in a room, a bunch of entrepreneurs that all talk to themselves, you're just normal. So, all right. With that being said, folks, we're going to get started with Zakia. She's up right now because she has, she was recently taken. Jim, we're getting some feedback, brother. So if you can mute yourself for now. Where she was on vacation in the Outer Banks, and I was watching all this awesome stuff. She was just having a good time. And that's Zakia, take us, you were there having a good time. Also, you got this message. Take us through that. And Take it away, my friend. You're up.
Sure. So yeah, I was on vacation. I should also mention that I am in the middle of a launch for my book, which was also done leveraging AI, but that book is nothingwasrandom.com. And the interesting thing about that is I use several vibe coding tools. I'm not just on one platform. I use Lovable, Base 44, Google AI Studio, and Manus. And I see David is mentioning about Manus and he's mentioning about GitHub. I had a backup on GitHub, but that wasn't really the issue. But I got a notification, and I've known that this was happening, the unraveling of the deal. If you're not familiar, Meta, I was about to call it Facebook, but Meta had purchased Manus for $2 billion. And that was in December. The Chinese government waved their hands and said, oh, no, we're not having that. Unravel that deal. And I got a notification from Manus that you need to back up everything that you have on our platform because it will be deleted on whatever date. You will be able to restore it and all of that. And of course, I went into panic mode because I have actual live apps where people are buying from me that are hosted there. And so one of the nice features that Manus has given us is pretty much unlimited credits. And some people, I'm in all the Reddit groups, what they're doing now is they're building as much as they can. And what I did is I decided to take a step back and use those credits to do a real deep dive in what it is that I've actually built. And so a lot of anomalies were pointed out there. Some of the things that I thought I was doing right weren't so right. And so to Bez's point, while I was in the Outer Banks, I was able to continue living my life, being on vacation, and just having conversations and having my AI workforce do the things that I was after. So I have created an AI workforce for myself where I use ChatGPT as the thought partner because it has the longest running history and understanding who I am, what I do, the projects that I've built, and it has the context and the continuity that I don't have to kind of set that up each time. And then I use Claude as more of the knowledge worker, where it's the archivist and making sure that I'm actually having a local backup as well as something on Google Drive. And then it's also testing what my vibe coding tool is saying that it's done. Because a lot of the time, as I was building all of my apps, I would just take it at its word of, okay, yeah, you asked us to do that backup, we did it. But then when I would put Claude into the situation, I'm like, nope, it's not there. And then it's like, oh, yeah, it's not there. And I'm going to go back to what Bez said about not being a coder, because I have never coded a day in my life. When I was in college, I took a programming class on COBOL, right? And but COBOL is not what is used today. We're using a lot of Next and React and JavaScript, all kinds of stuff today. But the thing that I have is an architectural view. I understand the problem that I'm trying to solve in the experience that I want from a user's perspective. And I think that's something that kind of sets me apart. I'm not building apps and looking for an audience to buy it. I'm solving my own problems. And then that naturally leads to other people that are like me. And now it's transitioning quite a bit. It's not just, can I build an app? Can I create, what does this AI workforce enablement look like for the non-technical person? Yes, we all have the tools, but how can you use them safely so that you're building something that is actually useful, solves a problem, and is also secure? So I think that's the shortest version of that. And I see LaTanya there on the Facebook side. Hey, girl. Hey, how are you? Oh, am I the only one? I can keep talking if you want.
No. Let me go back to this view here. So you were talking about, well, tell us a little bit about your tech stack, that journey. Where have you migrated to? Some of the things that you're working on. Let's work. You the other day you went a little bit deeper, so I definitely want to dive into that because there was a rhyme or reason, and we've got David here sharing some stuff. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about the steps you took, because there's some people that are doing right now like, oh, okay, what did I do? What was some of the steps? What did you think? I mean, you've even talked about, own versus rented. So take us a little bit deeper into that.
I think it was because we had a natural conversation. I didn't just run it down like I do this and I do that. But this is what I will say.
Okay.
And it's not a new thing, right? It's a pattern thing. So very similar to when I first started selling products online. And I would use a tool like Wix because I didn't know how to build a website. And then I learned very early from my Wix days that I did not own the platform. There were things that I could not do that could be taken away. Very similar to my Periscope days. I've shared this story a million times, but in my Periscope life, I had grew that audience to 70,000 followers. And overnight that disappeared. And I did not have those email addresses, that contact information, because I didn't understand the whole business model stuff. So I think that planted a seed in me very early on from maybe 2016, ownership. And a lot of people get really excited because it's free, so I can use it. When it's free, that means you are typically the product in most instances. And it came to bite me again when I got that email, those similar feelings of I am going to lose this thing, right? Because I didn't take heed to those lessons of the Periscope days and the Wix days. And so again, I am not a master prompt engineer, but I am a great conversationalist. And that's one thing that I tell everybody, pick one GPT tool, whether that is Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever the thing is, and get really good at just having a conversation and being very comfortable with the things. So I started by taking the email that I got from Manus, went to ChatGPT, and I said, oh, okay, I don't want us to get any FTC. I said, oh-ish, literally, to ChatGPT. I just got this email. I am in the middle of a launch for Nothing Was Random, and I don't know what to do. So do you want me to pause there? And because that's how I was able to figure out what I needed to do to shore my stuff up, because they are giving you, so if you guys don't know, Manus is a vibe coding tool, which means you can just type and it will build for you what it is that you're typing or having a conversation about. That's the easy way to say it, but that can get you down a million rabbit holes if you don't do it intentionally. And it can also get very expensive if you're not very descriptive on what it is that you want. And so I used that conversation with ChatGPT to come up with a plan on how I was going to back all of this stuff up. So yes, I did have all of my projects being pushed to GitHub, but that was not all. There was the component of, are your permissions correct? Have you secured all of your keys? Because there is a bunch of Stripe integrations and payment processing and all of that. So have you really created the database architecture? Whereas if Manus just does not come back, will you be able to flip the switch on another platform and stand up nothingwasrandom.com? And I can say 2 days ago, the answer to that was no. While I was walking on the beach, while I was having dinner with my family, I was having conversations with both Chat, Manus, and Claude to make that possible. So I can tell you 2 days later, the answer to that is absolutely yes. I've already stood it up. So when that downtime goes down, nobody in my audience will know the difference of that happening. So yeah, I don't feel like I've answered your question completely, but it was really about understanding the job to be done. So ChatGPT for me is the thought partner. It has that continuity of what it is that I am trying to do, and also all of the history of the last 3.5 years of using it.
Okay.
Claude, on the other hand, has access, and it has those agents that can take action on my computer, in my Google Drive, and the various connectors and the other SaaS tools that I use. So it can take those same conversations and I can give it an instruction. And then Manus or Google AI Studio or Base 44, whichever one I'm using in the moment, that is the one that's actually engineering and building for me. So I've created that my own AI team for carrying out, and I mentioned my comment about being able to execute at the speed of thought. That was the one thing for me that has changed over the years. None of the ideas or the projects that I'm building today are brand new because of AI. They are things that I have always wanted to do. But the problem was I would have the ideas, but then I had to translate it to a techie person who would bring me back something that was completely off base. And now with these tools, I don't have to have that in the mix. I can go right from idea to typing it out, having it show me and saying, nope, you got that wrong. Change this button, change that functionality. We need to improve this workflow. So some people will say, oh, well, you built a whole lot with AI. Yep, I absolutely did. But you absolutely positively have to have the mindset and the domain expertise to build what it is that you're after.
Okay. Perfect. Jim or Christian, please get ready to come off mic to ask Zakia any questions. But before that, I want to share what Latanya says. She says the same as TikTok. You build up connections and it could go away any day. Yes. And you have to grab those emails. You have to find a way to take them to someplace else, right? In off LinkedIn, we have this term called deplatform. You always, and that is taking the conversation off the platform, right? And that's super important because that's where you develop the relationships. That's where amazing things happens, business deals. And, deplatforming is a good thing. I've seen just off LinkedIn 5, 6, 7-figure deals because of LinkedIn, but you had to take the conversation off the platform. Okay. So, and Zakia, any thoughts on that as I go to the next comment? Because I know you've taken some stuff off platform.
Oh yeah. And you have, but here's the thing, platforms are still very, very important because what I'm finding is more and more people are going to go searching on those platforms for the proof of what it is that you're saying in person, right? So I still think that social media is extremely important, but not for the reasons that most people think of, oh, somebody's going to see me and come and buy my stuff. 90% of the time, that is not how it happens for me. People have met me in person. We have been in direct messages with each other. Somebody has referred them. And then before they decide to hire me for the thing, they go and look at my audit trail on any of the platforms, primarily LinkedIn, to say, okay, this is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm seeing. Can I verify that? Or is there an audit trail of the things that she's saying?
100%. That's I totally agree with what you just said. And Christian, go ahead. You
Yeah.
have a question or a comment?
Yeah, I have a question. A comment, and then a question about it. So I agree with like Zakia just shared some life lessons about implementing things. I was going to, one thing that I think you do, Zakia, from hearing this from you at another time, that I think is super important. Like with one of your applications for the like handmade things, the meeting with actual users and doing multiple iterations where you're taking feedback, figuring out what makes sense, implementing what makes sense, coming back and doing multiple cycles of that. Like that seems like a, super critical thing that is part of your success. And I was going to ask you how you structured those sessions.
I heard you, Christian. It was kind of going in and out, but it was about how do I structure those beta sessions for Maker Studio AI? I think is that what you heard, Bez? Okay. So it was very interesting. That was the first app that I built as a true software as a service. But interestingly, right as I was about to launch it, I was a part of another beta group for a platform that I love. It's called Hey Stream. It was for another lifetime deal, Hey Summit, that I had purchased. And so long story short, I had participated in a beta, and there were some things that I absolutely loved about it. And then there were some things that I was just like, man, I just wouldn't do it that way. So what I do with my beta groups is before anybody even comes into a beta, there's a short 5-question questionnaire. I set up the beta around particular modules within the app that I'm after to really understand, did I get recipes right? Did I get the inventory right? Is this how you would do it in your practice? Because I think the one thing is, it was great that I'm a practitioner and a handmade product maker. But the other thing is, because it's so nuanced and because there are so many people that have kind of figured out their own way, I didn't want to just build to the exceptions. I wanted to understand the rules and then be able to identify this would be a phase 2 or a phase 3 or a phase 4. So I would intentionally structure the 8 beta sessions around each one of the modules, keeping in mind what the promise of the platform was. So understanding what you are promising that the platform can do. Our promise is that we're going to help you go from your inventory all the way down to your revenue. So from recipes to revenue, Maker Studio AI helps you with that. And that was the question that I asked at the end of every beta session. Is there another platform that does it? The answer was no. Boop, boop. Number 2, would you actually use it? And then number 3, I would then look in the back end for what they were actually doing on the platform. Were they taking advantage of those AI tools that I built in or not? Because if they weren't, that means it was just a shiny object, or just like what we're finding with AI right now, it's not a part of their workflow, right? So how do I teach that in the workflow? And then making sure that it wasn't just a one-way conversation. Within the app, there is also an ability for people to submit bug reports and feedback reports. So it's kind of a holistic way of understanding the user experience that I was after, and then intentionally designing them every Tuesday, 12 o'clock in the afternoon for an hour. Some of them went to 2 hours. And then all of my beta testers became founding members. They were the first subscribers of Maker Studio AI.
Well, go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, it sounds like you sound like a product manager. So I was wondering what your background is or how you came up with that format.
So I'm definitely not a product manager. I have been a program manager before, where I was responsible for the learning and development for leadership development. My background is help desk. The way I even got into training is I got the same questions over and over and over again. And I decided to build out an IT orientation program at my very first job. And it wasn't necessarily because I thought I was a trainer. I was trying to make my job easier. And so I did that for about 3 years. Then I went into instructor-led training at a law firm, and then e-learning at a children's hospital. So my role has always been understand the problem and then to design the solution behind how people are going to be able to do something. So performance management was a huge part of it, performance consulting and instructional design. That's what I did for 20 years. And then when I had the best of both worlds in 2020. Nobody says that about 2020, but I was in the perfect world. People were saying, wash your hands, and you couldn't meet in person. I'm a soap maker, and I started a virtual event business because they were the two problems. And I've been a solopreneur since. So I've constantly watched what people struggle with. There has to, my brain always stops at the moment I start thinking, what if or why not? If I ever have those two thoughts in my head, I know that there either has to be a better way, or I just haven't built it yet. Somebody has built it, or it hasn't been built yet.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. I think your help desk experience, hearing, people's actual problems, along with everything else you did, makes sense now.
Yeah. And then actively participating. I've been a lifetime deal buyer since 2018. I don't know, a huge fan of AppSumo, but many of them are a lot of solopreneurs that are SaaS founders. And because I participated in a lot of their betas, I always get a chance to observe. I'm not just there looking at what the tool can do, but I'm also observing why a person does the thing that they do. How does the audience respond when they do that thing? What are the features that I love? Why do I love them? And then I had all of that to be able to pour into the apps that I started building. And once you do one, it's like, okay, here's the next one. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, great question. By the way, I wanted, before Jim gets, I know he probably has some questions, but I wanted to catch up. Mohammed had some, let me see, David had some things. He said some of the tools he likes to use: Lovable, Gemini, Claude, Grok. Man, he's just listed them all. That's looks like he's knee deep in AI. Let me see. Latanya also put something here. She's a big fan of you, and I guess she remembers you from Periscope.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I love Latanya. She's also a maker, but I recently did an interview. It should be coming out in a week or so. And somebody said, what do you think was impactful about your brand? And I think what was impactful and why people like Latanya, and just for context, Periscope was around in 2015. So I now have people that have been in my community for over 10 years. And the reason that trust in that brand was built is I never came with, oh, I have this thing to sell. I was actively learning out loud. I was okay with making a mistake. It didn't have to be perfect. And I brought my audience along on that journey. And so that is why, and I think that's what is really going to make more people stand out now in the world of AI, because there's so much AI. How can you genuinely, and I didn't want to say authentically, but how can you genuinely show up with the answer to the problem, even if you haven't figured it out? But that transparency of, this is what I'm working towards and this is what I'm finding, because somebody else is probably struggling with that exact same thing. And when I go back to David and I see all those tools that he mentioned, I think the biggest thing that I'm realizing is that I don't think I'm as interested in which AI is the best anymore. I'm really looking for how all of these things work together so that I can think, build, now I'm knowing, verify, preserve what I've built, and keep moving. So that's that whole concept of an AI workforce. And so before it was, well, which should I use ChatGPT or Gemini, or should I use Claude? I think the models are getting so close to each other right now. It's really understanding those jobs that have to be done and then being able to orchestrate it in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, and I put in there, David was in favor of controlling your environment, not be reliant on just one provider. So Yeah, he looks like he's done some really good things there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then Tanya keeps continuing to be a fan.
I love Tanya. Thank you, LaTanya.
Yeah, so she's a big fan. I can tell for sure. So we'll bring that. Christian, did you have some questions before I introduce my other guest? But wanted to. I know we've been talking to Zakia about that MakerStudio.ai and whatever other apps she's vibe coded. But what questions do you have, Jim, or comments?
Probably the thing that I've noticed and kind of want to point out there that was kind of mentioned just a few minutes ago is a lot of these tools and environments are becoming more and more alike as time moves on. The UIs are, left panel has kind of a directory, the main chat's in the middle, and then, the output or browsers on the right. Uh, so, so as you invest time in doing different things, I would say always pay attention to the foundational information because that will be transferable from one tool to another, and having that design and structure will be a great benefit.
And totally agree. Any response to that, Zakia? Any? Yeah, Jim, amazing. Love what you talk about the tools there. I know I'm putting some stuff of what LaTanya says there, but just wanted to let you know, Zakia, that you got some fans out there. So, uh, okay, we have we're coming up top of the hour. We're gonna do I want my friend Sam to introduce himself. So Sam, here's the gig. And then we're all gonna do a reintroduce ourselves because maybe people are dialing in and they don't know who we are. But Sam, give us your name, where you're dialing in from, and what's so awesome about you or something awesome you're working on.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name clearly is Sam. I run and have operated a small graphic design and art direction studio for about 30 years. I've done, probably every creative project available, from brand development to websites to app development, mobile app development. I primarily have been on the user interface side or the design side, and then I've collaborated with a few technical people throughout the years to help execute those projects. That's kind of my background. That's what I've been doing, like I said, for the last 30 years, on top of, raising family and being a husband. But that's the short end of my story. I'm sure as we talk and share, you'll learn more about me. But Bez invited me on. I dabble in AI development. I use it daily for communication, and also use it sparingly for elements of my design development. Use it a lot for iteration, sort of understanding the more valuable parts of a user interface or a design. Or I might ask, hey, what can we do to improve this particular element of a design? So a lot of iteration in that. I'm not sure how you guys utilize it, but that's been sort of my experience for the last couple of years. And I'm here to just absorb, help, and just be a part of what you guys are doing.
Well, he's very modest, by the way, and we're going to go around and do a reintroduction, but let me introduce my friend. I went to high school and also university with him. When I was a senior, he was a freshman, so I got him good,
Some big brother moments for sure.
Yeah, and he has a big brother too. So, but something special about Sam. he has worked. I'm going to tell you the quality of stuff he does. He's worked for all the major Hollywood studios. He's done work for them. If there was a major movie, you've probably seen some of his stuff. He's worked with some of the top action sports personalities. If you remember the ESPN X Games, he did a lot of stuff for them, right, back in the day. Skateboarding, wakeboarding, the whole thing. He knows he's in touch with people like Tony Hawk. Like this guy's, worked with some of the big personalities out there, NFL players, Ray Lewis, and so on and so. I mean, he's developed cartoon characters. He's done amazing things, and I told him I'm going to start interviewing him because he has crazy stories. So, this guy has, he's very humble, but he's probably been where pop culture meets. Sam has been there. Okay. You didn't tell us where you're from, but we'll just say he's from the Los Angeles, California area. I think most people can resonate with that. But yeah, if he knows some people, and he's really low key about that. But I know Sam. I know. And here's something interesting in the in the mid to late 90s, he was bringing me web projects. I'm a recruiter and have my own recruitment firm, and I help him staff his projects. And I've got stories there. We won't belabor the point there, but we have some stories of, I mean, in those days we were still dealing with dial-up modems. And Stan was able to do some amazing things. We hired some crazy people, some amazing, crazy people, but we'll tell that story another time. But yeah, it was interesting because back in the day, the talent at the level Sam demanded was really hard to find them here in the United States. I had to go to Eastern Bloc countries to find people that were a level above, and eventually the United States caught up and a lot of other countries, but it was some interesting times. And if you could spell Java, you were getting paid, even if you were a horrible Java developer. Eventually that normalized, and you had to really be good at Java to make your coin. And those that weren't that great, just they were not employable. Anyways, Sam, man, glad you're here. And know him for years. My kids, his kids, played together, did stuff together, went to school together. So it's really interesting when you know somebody from way back when. Then both of our kids, grow up together. Now they're young adults starting their own whatever they're doing into. So Sam, it's always good to have you here, but I'm going to go back to reintroduce as we go into the second session. But Zakia, no, let's go with Christian. Introduce yourself so Sam knows who you are. Then we'll go to Jim or Zakia, who's ever available.
Christian Koda. I'm leader of the Landon chapter of the AI Collective. I also have a consulting firm. We work with small companies to help them implement AI. And one thing I'm working on right now is a kind of a structured AI readiness assessment for small businesses, because to really be effective, you need to make sure their data is ready. They need to have their processes kind of tuned up before you even apply technology. So that's kind of one exciting thing I'm working on right now.
Oh, thank you, Christian. Jim, are you around? Oh, maybe I don't see. Oh, there he is. He's appearing. There you go. Yeah, introduce yourself.
Yes, my name's Jim Slavik. I'm kind of like Christian on the West Coast. I've been involved with hackathons, teaching AI, doing a little bit of consulting with small businesses, and building out AI and tech communities in the Portland area.
Right on. He's all right, Zakia. Your turn. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Sam. I'm Zakia Ringgold in the Philadelphia, PA area. I run a business tech lab. I'm a small business advisor for businesses in the Philadelphia area. I am definitely an AI enthusiast. And as I've shared with everyone here, I have now vibe coded up to 14 apps. And now I'm at the point where I'm trying to codify that foundation so that I can replicate it with lessons learned instead of starting from scratch each time. You're muted, Bez.
Yeah, just, that happens sometimes. The universe says, Sam knows I love to talk. Everybody knows I love to talk. Zakia, how many paying customers do you have on, I think the
Maker
Maker
Studio.
AI? Yeah,
Maker
that one.
Studio currently has 62.
Wow, amazing. 62 paying members. All right. I need one of those. I'm going to do,
And
actually,
I truly believe every small business owner should have their own version of Netflix. Whatever expertise you have, you should be building your own version of Netflix for that.
wow. Oh, yeah, I agree. There. Um, all right. My name is, before Jim, get ready because we're going to come to you. But my name is Bez Renhefo, where I'm bringing all these wonderful people together. I've been a, headhunter for over 30 years. I think I'm on my 34th year in recruiting and HR, mainly on the recruiting side. And I've done some pretty, actually, when after 9/11, I was on the TSA project as one of the original, part of the original team. I ended up authoring the community outreach initiative. Now, I write every single bit of it? No, I herded the cats, put it together, put it in a proposal, sent it up the chain. And back then, the TSA was actually came out of the Department of Transportation, the DOT. They ended up approving a $13 million proposal. It helped us scale and grow. And we ended up hiring 45,000 people in 7 months. And that was pretty cool. But those are some past awesomeness right now: headhunting, career coaching, messing around with AI, developing a program, and trying to take the career, the AI, and entrepreneurship type of advising and coaching and putting it together. So I'm working on that mixture because I'm seeing people in my career coaching program really interested in maybe not going back to corporate America. And it's really funny because as an entrepreneur, I'm not there trying to, hey, let's talk about entrepreneurship. It's more about their careers, but I'm seeing people ask some deep questions. So I'm going to give them an avenue to get there. Many of you here are going to help me on that journey. So more to come on that. So we're going to go to Jim. Thank you, Zakia, for sharing about taking, your apps from rented land and on a journey to put them on land you own. It's interesting because I've been looking at what they call home lab or home labbing, where you set up your own home. Man, it's amazing some of the things people are doing, and I'm looking at that. So if anybody has some ideas or suggestions, I want to build my own little rack here and not rely on stuff that could go away. So,
Yeah.
but
Bez, before
you,
you jump over, David did have a question, which I absolutely want to answer primarily because it's like the foundation of what we do. Have we found that most small businesses need to have their processes optimized first before introducing AI? And I love his saying of my age, you can't out automate a bad process. I will never introduce a business to AI until we have a firm orientation on their business. So we ran an AI for Small Business Summit where we had every business complete what's known as a business operating profile. because that becomes the foundation and the building block that AI can use. In terms of processes, Christian did a wonderful program on helping small businesses to define those processes and then automate them. But yes, we are firm believers. I think we're all in agreement there on we absolutely must orient before we automate anything. So that's all. I wanted to just share that because we are talking AI and not just for the sake of AI, but what does it mean in practice for small business?
100%. I think, I couldn't, I mean, I remember hanging out with you during that AI summit, and that was something you were harping on. I mean, it's so important because people get really into that shiny object syndrome, and they're using a tool with no rhyme or reason, and they can't even codify or show you, hey, here's my process, how I even open up the business, when I walk in the morning. And people think that's oh, well, who cares? Well, a long time ago, I read the book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. I think that book's 40 years old. And I don't know if he's still alive, but this is an amazing book. For those entrepreneurs out there, you need to read the E-Myth Revisited, because it'll talk in the first half of the book. It'll talk about where you're at in your current journey. And you'll see yourself. You'll see, oh yeah, he talks about why most people start, put up their own shingles, like, hey, they're trying to get away from the ball and chain, their boss. But what they don't realize is they become really good at what they do. And he talks about this lady who's a baker, and there's a line every morning. Well, she couldn't even take a vacation. So her business became a bigger ball and chain than the ball and chain that she left. So he does talk about that journey. You'll see yourself there about halfway through. He'll tell you there's a better way. And he'll talk about how to systemize things, how to document things. He's all about systems, because his premise is, if you start a business, you need to start thinking about what's your exit strategy. And a lot of people who have small businesses, they're like, oh no, this is my baby. It's going to be for me. Wait, what if somebody, whispers a sweet, some sweet words in your ear? You better be ready. What if, you get to a point in your life where you're either going to shut it down or you're going to sell it? I mean, rather make some money on your way out, because, hey, maybe you're riding off into the sunset, right? So I don't think a lot, when you talk about process and procedures and codifying things, super important for all businesses. And I'm guilty of that too. I have things that I need to codify because it's in my head. And it's, for me, it's like natural, right? I've been doing it for 34 years. But no one's going to buy what's in my head. They want to see it on paper. So thank you, Zakia, for bringing that up. And thank you, David, for bringing that forward. That is, I think that resonates with many of us here. Jim, the time has come. And let's talk about Obsidian. Why should we pay attention to Obsidian, for all of us here who are really into AI, and why Obsidian, and feel free to share your, after you go through that, to even share your screen and show us, how to set it up and what are things to do. But take it away, my friend. You are the star of the show right now.
Well, thank you, Baz. I think what got us started talking about Obsidian and some of these things are the one, not being subject to having all your code or your documentation captive to a vendor. And what a lot of people are using is Obsidian, or that products similar that store everything in a markdown file. That's a text file format. And then from there, is that feedback coming from my ground?
Yeah. All of us have our stuff muted. So it sounds like maybe it's a little fan, but it's not. I mean, we can live just.
I think the fan was me. I mute my mic right now.
The fan.
Okay, yeah, but now it's gone. So, anyways, and I think what's gotten the buzz started a little bit is Andre Karpathy several months ago had mentioned. Basically, it's a strategy to achieve memory with all the different things you're doing with your AI agents or chat sessions and things of that nature, because a lot of that exists in the cloud, but after 30 days or whatever the archiving solution is, depending on the vendor, you lose the context of your meetings. For example, I use Granola for quite often recording meetings and conversations so that I can write a summary up afterwards and quickly follow up with a to-do list and different things like that. But with that product, for example, after 30 days, all those meetings are locked behind the firewall unless I happen to have archived them. And that's something you can do with a tool. Like I've set up a Claude automation to be able to use the Granola MCP API environment to be able to download the text or documentation from those meetings. And the nice thing about Obsidian when I started using it years ago was because of the fact that it is local to your hard drive and it's all in text format. Nothing's binary other than the code that makes it run, of course. But all of your data is in text format. And I don't have it completely set up with Claude. I was going to try to do some experiments, but what I do, like a lot of people do, I have Google Drive running in the background or different things of that nature to be sure that I have everything backed up in one format or another. A lot of my code I do get on GitHub, but I do that primarily for code and not necessarily documentation. In my process, I will use ChatGPT or Fable or different things to write out a requirements document or a game plan prior to coding. And what I've done is set up some skills too. I also use ClickUp to have the whole project and all the outlines and everything recorded in ClickUp so that I can come back a week later and go, hey, where was I on this project? And say, hey, you're step 5 out of 7. Let's do step 5, 1A or however it's numbered, and work through those steps. And then I can create a quick memory tag. It all gets saved up into ClickUp. And the base documents, usually when I start something out, I'll have a chat session and then save that whole chat session as a Google Doc. So I have threads in different places. The challenge with that, of course, is if you get too bifurcated with storing things in different places, if you're like my memory, then you're going, okay, where did I store that thing at, a week later? And what's working really well for people are using products like Obsidian to have that memory, have one place you can set up with APIs to the frontier models, and also be able to have them, load up your local files in your Obsidian vault into the context window and be able to talk directly via an API workflow right in Obsidian, so that it works real well together to be able to where you can have it stored, easily see it on a phone or different things. But knowing the best thing about it, I think, is a local way to get out of vendor lock-in of your data. So if you need to go from a $100 plan to a $20 plan or different things of that nature, it's one strategy to be able to have all that stuff local and outside of the vendor so that you don't get locked in. And even, thinking through it, even if Obsidian for some reason would go away, since there's all markdown files, you can still use VS Code, any text editor. You can even use Cursor and some of these AI tools to see all of that all of the documentation, all the markdown files in your in your Obsidian vault because of the nature of the file set. Does that make sense, Bez? Do you have any questions? Or does anyone else?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So I want to put it out to everybody else. Do you have questions you want to ask about what Jim just said?
I just want to Jim because when he gave us that Obsidian demo yesterday, I was able to go ahead and create a vault, and within a minute, I was able to press Command G within Obsidian, and it mapped my entire ecosystem. So it was truly a brilliant tool, and I don't think I could have manually did it myself, but because I had other tools, it created the vault for me that I was able to upload into Obsidian, which is fantastic. So I highly recommend it, and thank you for the recommendation yesterday.
Jim,
Go ahead.
could you give us a demo about Obsidian and sort of walk us through, share your screen with us? I'd love to see what you can do, and so we can peek over your shoulder.
Okay. Let me get to work on that here really quick. Walk me through. Okay, there's a present button. Maybe that's what I need here.
Yeah, it's there in the middle. So, folks, this is I'm an Evernote user, and I've been convinced to dump my Evernote, go to Obsidian, because it's a lot more. It gives me something that I own. It's open source, so. But while Jim is doing that, I'll start dancing the jig. Okay.
Okay, I think I've pressed the button.
There you go.
So can you guys see? So this is kind of Bez let me know about 20 minutes before we started that I was in the hot seat because another person couldn't make it. But basically on the left here is my Claude desktop set for looking at project directories. And then what I was planning on doing was doing some different demos with these, but the challenge that I'm running into here, of course, is a lot of these are stored on my Google Drive, and Obsidian is looking mostly at local files, not so I have to do the download sync to make this work real well. But on this side over here, let me pop it up to be a little bit bigger here, is the Obsidian workflow or desktop. It's kind of similar. A lot of UIs tend to have side panels. Over on this side right now, what I have open is just the directory structure of the vault, which is just some things that I was using for my coursework. The AI Jim Slavik site is an early version of what I have now up on jimslavik.com. And then down here, coffee shop, we were doing for some classes, hey, let's build a using AI to build a coffee shop website. And then we had everybody do that and build their own on the fly during class so that they'd have a fully functional website when they walked away from the class. And then these are just some other personal projects that I've been working on. I'm trying to replicate a site I used years ago called Slim Timer. I had like about a decade's worth of all the time I logged when I used to code and then be team lead coding projects for a marketing firm, email marketing company. And the guy ended up closing up the website, but he has it up on YouTube of what he did, how it was designed. And so I'm using Claude to replicate that. And here is just different README files for different places in the project, but as you can see here, the code or the README was written by Claude, but because of the format of Markdown, it provides hot links to next.js. So it explains how it was bootstrapped, commands to get it started, where you can just click. Now it's copied into your clipboard, and you can go to your command window, run the code, open it up local. So all those steps that are part of a README that would then be uploaded to GitHub, for example, which is kind of this style, can all be local, and it can be all kind of live and functional from the get-go. And this setup has quite a few. There's plugins galore. There's like 6,000 of them now. And even some of them have direct hooks to Claude and different things where you can run your AI systems within Obsidian if that's what you want to do. It depends. I would probably be like some other people that I've listened to where it's here, it's viewable, you know it's saved, but they work mostly in Claude or Codex, whichever environment that they like. Let me see here. So looking at the UI, I'll just walk through a couple things here. So you can search based on, it's pretty close to Google type. If you're used to searching the old way in Google where you use tags and different things, plus minus signs to include or disclude different files, it works real well in that type of thing. And it also has where you can explain the search terms, have these things turned on so that if you do go search, it just shows you what you're doing and what you can find. Over on this side, links, different things of that nature. What I'm kind of looking forward to see if it's there's a graphic view of all your different tabs, and this is such a small repository that there's not much to show there, but there's a lot of different virtualization and different things that you can use and be able to work through your different things. You can multi-pane it, so it's pretty functional. But that's kind of the quick and dirty.
Well, the graph is on the very left pane from.
Oh, there it is, right there. Open
third
graph
one
view.
down.
Yeah. So what I was going to try to demo if I had a larger repository was to have Claude go through and tag stuff, and then you could watch the tags and stuff show up on the graph. But I didn't get that far and was much more interested in listening to Zakia and some of the things that she was talking about that I didn't quite have it ready set for live. But
that's good. How does how does one import stuff?
Okay, here, just 1 second here with this as this is coming up. This is actually one of my bigger vaults that I was kind of demoing with the other day. And let's see if I can find the graph icon here. I think this is it right here. So you look at the graph view here. Let me get rid of this extra window and shrink it out. This is something that I've kind of built over time, and different colors represent different, I think, file types or tags. And you can kind of see over here, this is not, you click on it right, you can kind of see there's some text showing up there, and it's just hard to read in this format. But what was your question again, Bess?
Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that graph. What I was going to ask you is, like, how do you import things, or how do you, like Zakia just did that last night, and my Obsidian is blank. but I
Okay.
didn't get that window that says, "Oh, import this," or how do you set up a vault? Yeah.
Okay, so there's three ways to open up a vault, basically. So when you come down here and click, and then do Manage Vaults, it pops up a window. Let me drag it into the share here, and you can open it up three ways. Create new vault, which might be what you've done, and it just creates a new vault, and you pick a folder. And if the folder or directory is blank, you won't see anything in there. Now, if you open folder as a vault, which is what I did for this Claude and Claude projects, you just then go in, you pick a location or a, I like to save memes. So easy as simple as selecting a folder, and then it creates a new vault and it uploads everything. And most of these are image files, so they act a little differently, but it just goes in and analyzes everything. This is when my car got painted at an AI event, but it's as easy as that for anything that you already have created. So if you are, for example, doing a pretty thorough job of, let me bring Claude back up again. Using projects for either co-work or in your chat interface. Like here's an example project, how to use Claude. Let's see if I can get the details on it. And it doesn't give me the directory, but like here, this shows the directory. And you can just go to Obsidian, use that same directory, and it'll upload everything, categorize everything, do what you were kind of seeing there really quick. The other thing that you can do is, where's my file directory? Here, let's bring, come on.
So
This
you do your
laptop is
skills.
sometimes kind of slow. What's that? Go ahead.
So you do your skills here in Obsidian, so you don't lose them, or for whatever reason.
No, this is serving as a backup.
Okay.
I have, as I was writing some, when I was first getting started, like I kind of built a super prompt of going out, looking at a group of calendars and finding in real life tech events in the Portland area for the next 2 weeks, so that I could plan out my week or 2 weeks on, hey, these are the things I want to go to. This was kind of a goal set up to mostly for job search, to get away from, after being through COVID and working in an evening job, to actually get out and be a person again and go meet people. And but getting back to the ways to get data ingested, let me find something here real quick.
So that was, I'm glad you showed us where it is, the vault, because I was like, where? And I saw exactly what you did, and I'm saying, hey, create a new vault, open folder as a vault, open vault from Obsidian Sync. What is Obsidian Sync? Can you tell us about that?
That Obsidian Sync is they have two paid services. One is if you want to pay for a syncing service, which is like $4 a month, and then one to publish from their cloud service if you want to just take your vault and turn it into a website or blogging website. Those are the only two services that they charge for. And I mean, if you're syncing with Google Drive or something of that nature to back up these directories, it's very similar to that. Where it might be cleaner is I'd use SyncThing and some other free syncing tools between my two different PCs, a tablet, my phone. Is you get too many directions going, you run into timestamp issues and stuff. But that would be much cleaner. So
Right.
let me find something here.
So I can. So while you're doing that, I can actually pull stuff from a Google Drive, right? A Google
Yes.
Drive. Okay.
Yes, that's what. So the LAE, Fable 5, these projects here are hosted on Google Drive. But the problem is, and that I'm running into is, not everything is local. See, this is reading local. It's not going out to Google Drive to get the cloud version of your file. So if you're going to use a Google Drive directory, you have to have it downloaded or copied, the download copy or offline copy on your local drive to make it that work. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, we're
And folks, this is live.
here we go. It's here again.
By the way, if you guys want to come off mic and ask questions, don't wait till the end. Jump in here. This is a collaboration, and we're gonna pepper Jim with questions.
Yeah, so I configured mine like I forgot his name that originally showed us some of the Obsidian stuff. But I'm using Apple. I've got a iCloud Drive, and then so I've got local on my MacBook Pro. I've got Obsidian, and I have the Vault on an iCloud Drive, and then I got the mobile app on my iPhone, and I pointed it. It's at the same iCloud Drive. I haven't pushed a lot of stuff through it, so I don't know how it's going to hold up with more data, but with a small amount of data, it's worked so far. And I think there's a little extra syncing that works a little better in iCloud Drive for this kind of scenario than Google Drive or OneDrive, because I have tried stuff on those and got, weird sync errors and things.
One of probably the best types for backup type of thing is if you get a habit of using GitHub or GitLab, because it preserves everything in a versioning format. Now I'd use sync thing in it. You could set how many copies you would keep of something. But the benefit of the versioning is you may make a change to something and not realize till two more changes that, okay, what the information that you wanted or the version you want to go back to is two back. So that's usually why I do code with GitHub instead of Google Drive. I believe you can also set a Google Drive for versioning as well, but I don't feel it's as clean because I've had troubles with it.
Yeah, I agree. I was using this not so much for the backup aspect, but for the not having to pay for a sync service. So
Sure.
I can make an update either on my phone or on my MacBook and have it automatically reflect. But yeah, I use GitHub for code stuff also.
Yeah, I'm at this point, I'm not looking over every file when I use Claude or do any vibe coding. I'll do more testing for functionality, that type of thing, and then make sure I check it in, but I'm not reading every file of code. Okay. So you'd ask about ways to ingest files. So I directed a person's repository or Obsidian Vault a couple of years ago called Link Your Thinking. And to ingest into a vault, really all you have to do is, if you have some additional information, you can just copy it into the directory and then go to your repository and get over here to the one I want. It's Claude projects. Like right now, if you go to the files directory, you don't see anything, but if you close the directory and then reopen it, close them all, it will re-ingest all those files and open up a new vault. So let me restart Obsidian here again.
So a question I wanted to ask for different.
Go ahead.
A question I wanted to ask for different folders. Do you create a different vault, or can you put everything in one vault and then search it from there?
It depends on what you want to do. Like I when I was working at New Relic, had a huge vault because I had everything. I wanted to work in one work environment for both work and home life, and so that was the directive that I had there. But now it depends on how you work. You can do one massive one directory, one vault. Challenge with that sometimes, especially if you're using a tablet or an older computer, it gets too big, it loads up in memory and becomes kind of slow. So if we go over here now and look at files, all the link you're thinking stuff. Let me go to the right vault here, make sure my demo's clean. Okay, here we go. So the link you're thinking directory is now ingested into the vault. All the files are located there. And then if you want to search or have Claude or an LLM be able to search through those files and then use the content of these files into context, you can do that. It could almost be like your own version of Notebook LM that Google has. But that's kind of how that works. Does that make sense, Baz?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
And see here, the graph it used to be pretty simple, but like here, thinking MOC is from there. The library is from there. So these big clusters of files, content is all from what I just ingested. So it's as simple as that. Like I've if I wanted to work on learning Kubernetes or something, you can easily load it up and use Obsidian. There's plugins where you can create graph cards, reminder cards, different things of that nature to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that's now this is good.
See, here's an example too of things where I've cut and pasted as I'm listening to a video, get an image of the anatomy of a prompt, paste it into my notes as I'm watching a video, and then have all of that stuff saved. Along with links to this was off of Pluralsight course that I cut and pasted this information.
Okay.
Jim, can you say again how you handle your granola notes to get in there?
Okay, so with granola, let me go back to Claude. I'm sure Codex, all of them have different things that are called one version of another of integration, right? Let's see here. I might not be looking in the right spot, But with Claude, I've got integrations where it can have access to the APIs to email, different applications, Luma. There's all kinds of different ones that they have set up. Right.
So you're using one of the built-in connectors to Granola?
Yes, I'm correct. And with that MCP server connection, you just sit there and ask in a chat session, hey, I want to get this from Granola. I want to download this, different things of that nature. Now, one of the things that I found real interesting with Granola, they're doing like a lot of things. The same thing with ClickUp. They're integrating in their own AI system, right? And with that, like they have a bunch of shortcuts or skills that are pre-built. I haven't figured out how to get the output of those yet because I don't know that they're being saved on the cloud type of thing. And that's the other challenge. But yeah, just use the integration for, if you're using Cloud or Codex, just say, hey, I want to connect to Granola. What do I have to do? And you should be able to take or make the most out of those MCP integrations and stuff. I mean, they're coming out with new ones all the time. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. Definitely. So you don't have it automatically where you record a meeting and automatically have it go in there into Obsidian.
Well, I do that frequently with Granola, but the like I'm trying to do with a lot of things, keep my expenses under control. So like I'm not paying for the max Granola, right? I have such a few number of meetings that I go to, a couple of meetings a week, interviews, different things like that I never have run into the minimum amount of time or number of meetings per month that the free version allows. But when they went from, early adopters kind of get everything mode to we got to start paying our bills mode, what they did to encourage people to pay for services was, okay, hey, the transcripts of your meetings are only available for 30 days. And after that, you lock behind a paywall. And probably when I get there, everything's set up and automating and working the way I want, I will probably pay it for a month and then just download everything. But, it all depends on what your needs are.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I'm going to put the question out there. Anybody have questions? And I'll ask questions, but everybody else, if you want to get your question. What I wanted to know is maybe I need to do one because there's stuff I want AI to, to learn from. But then there's stuff I don't want it to touch, right? Like from a privacy perspective. So I can see where maybe I have 2 folders, right? Or 2 vaults, or like you said, maybe multiple ones, depending of how much stuff. I think 2 vaults right now might be good enough, but who knows,
Well, kind of what I'm doing with that approach, thought process wise, is anything that I'm introducing AI to locally or whatever, like I haven't gone the Claude bot route or anything of that nature, because you're giving you're giving it access to your whole computer. Now, when Claude Cowork came out, you give it privileges at the file or directory level, and to me, that's a little more comfortable to what I'm used to in kind of the Linux world, where you can give a user or a group certain privileges within part of a directory tree. So probably, especially if you have, client data or different things like that you want to track or use in Obsidian, having that be in a different vault that where you may not either set up a local LLM, which there's a lot of documentation out there to do that, and be able to go that route. The nice thing with Obsidian, like I set up a kind of a low code ticketing system to mimic Salesforce, because what was happening at where I was working is we would be working on tickets and communications with the client, and all of a sudden your browser crashes or there's an auto refresh, network glitch, and then all the things that you had typed or written into Salesforce would be gone. It wouldn't be saved. And then they had the problem of Salesforce is so big where you might be working in a chat interface, having a conversation with someone, and then trying to cut and paste that information into the email messages and part of their platform. The formatting would be the same. And so you cut and paste one thing in, and then you'd have to sit there and, use spaces and everything to try to make it format right. And that was such a headache. I went through Evernote and everything to try to find something where I could do all my pre-send or pre-communication layout and everything in a note-taking application. And Obsidian purely went out because I could cut and paste from there directly into Salesforce, and Salesforce wouldn't wreck the format as much. It recognized it and worked much better because I could take the text, the images I'd build out to tell a story, put it right into Salesforce, hit save, boom, and then move on. And then I had it here for where I could search it so that, okay, I get another customer. Okay, it was a Java bug. I kind of remember a little bit about it, and I could go search for it and find it. To be able to do that with like a local LLM or a Claude or something like that, it would be 10 times faster than doing it the way I did it. But that's kind of what led me down to the point where I started using Obsidian. I've been using it for quite a while now. So,
Well, I think where we've learned a lot today, Jim. I'm going to open up the panel one last time if there's any questions. But if there isn't, we're going to go around the horn as we close out, and I'm going to ask one question. But is there anybody that has questions around Obsidian? All right. I think my question is, and Jim, we're going to start with you, and then we'll go to Zakia, then Sam, and then Krishen, and then I'll end up. And that the question is, what are you doing with AI right now, and that by the end of the year is going to be something? Between now and the end of the year, what are you doing with AI? Let's go with that. And we'll start with you, Jim, and then we'll go to Zakia, Sam, and then Krishen. Go ahead,
Jim. One of the projects that I'm kind of interested in seeing how it kind of evolves is I'm trying to build something with Claude or different AI tools that can be kind of become my operating dashboard or my life dashboard, if you want to look at it that way, where I can easily add a new project. Like I'm talking with some people about getting on a board of a nonprofit. I can just go in and say what my big rock is for that part of my life, then be able to build out deliverables, and then be able to chart and run the KPIs against all the other things I'm doing, and have it be kind of AI native and have it built in a way that I can sit down and easily pick up where I left off, whether it's one day, 2 weeks ago. I seem to have the challenge of being able to sit down. It's like, oh God, what did I do last week? Right. And I've used these systems like Obsidian and Google Drive and all that kind of stuff. And I want to get to where everything's kind of accessible from one working environment. And I think that's something that, either with Claude Desktop or some of these things where, and all these MCP tools, you can just build these hooks into everything. Like I can get all my stuff from granola, have that ingested. The deliverables or things that I agree to in a meeting is recorded, and then it's charted into my project plan or my life plan, and be able to go from 0 to 1 in terms of focus much faster than what I seem to be doing now.
Okay, I was trying to unmute. All right, we'll go to yeah. Sam has his mic, his video on. So Sam, yeah, I've seen you play with AI from the early days, doing some amazing things, and you put a special IG account, and
Yeah.
but yeah, what's what do you up to these?
Yeah, I mean, from a creative perspective, someone responsible for a visual outcome, for a company or corporate entity, my goal has always been to augment my own, creative process. So, one of the things that I started out with really early was to complement my branding process. I had created sort of a process of prompting that would get me general idea, be able to draw a line around where I believe the client was wanting to go. I want to visually, right? So, let's say they wanted a mid-century modern Art Deco. They wanted a very graphic style. Maybe they gave me some examples of designs that they liked, that they were looking for. And my job was to inject a soul into those things, like basically taking their ideal and creating a story around those. That would include a color palette, what type of branding or mark they were looking for. So what I started to do was to create a group of prompts that would get me to a dozen different visuals, right? And within those dozen visuals, I would sort of, okay, cool, this is sort of an idea or a way to go. I would sketch that up. I'd run it back through, Mid-Journey or ChatGPT or whatever, and I'd get something back. Now, those are pretty generic to a certain extent, but they might give me an angle, a style, just a visual element that triggered something else. To me, it was the same sort of ideal as looking at a bunch of source material. There's all these tons of different monogram books, logo books, and things like that you could look through. Let's say a client of yours wanted to incorporate the letter A into their logo. Well, these books might have hundreds of different iterations of an A and how those work. Well, I take pictures of those pages, run those through ChatGPT along with my sketches, and then get another round of iterations, right? So that just helped me explore a little deeper. It allowed me to go into maybe areas I wouldn't have thought of. And as far as your question, where would I want to take this in the next year? The goal is to turn those prompts into something a little more automated. Maybe there's something I could upload images into. I could run conversations with clients through, and get, more finished iterations. Maybe I would run my own drawings or designs back through that for a logo or something like that, and have it automatically set up a presentation or something, right? So I mean the goal is really to augment some of these very laborious parts of the design process, and have ChatGPT do them, like presentations and things like that, as opposed to myself. I could just focus on the brand, the idea, the soul of what I was trying to do, and have it kind of do the humdrum stuff. And that's how I've been using it. I want to add to that and build on something maybe a little more automated, a little bit more turnkey. That's it, really.
Wow. He was so quiet, and all of a sudden he just was inspired, and I love it. I mean, that's why we
Yeah,
set up these
Jim, gave me,
rooms.
Jim had me thinking, wow, you could do all that? That's it. I always feel weird about putting my own drawings into the AI, right? Like, so, man, am I feeding the beast here? I think some of my ideas are pretty unique, uh, and I wonder what's going to happen. Am I going to turn around and see it somewhere else? But I don't know. Either way, I'm pushing forward.
Well, I think that's I mean, that's a great question, and how that is answered is depending where your mindset is at, right? Where, you know, is even my own stuff uh the I mean, there's somewhere, you got your inspiration from somewhere, right? And what we're starting to see, or we've been seeing, I saw this a couple of years back where I did the what we called a next gen bio. And then I was using, when I was experimenting with Notebook LM, and it was in the early days, and I put like how I did it step by step and the free tools I used. And I had a friend of mine who was searching like how to improve their bio, and I was in Chat GPT, and I was the third one cited. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I didn't know that Chat GPT did that. And
Wow.
so she sent me a screenshot, and sure enough, I was cited. Hey, check out Bez's post on LinkedIn about next gen bio, and I was like, oh my goodness. So maybe Sam, you're in that position now after 30 years that maybe people are citing your work. Maybe that is a way people get to know you, or there's an awareness, and I'm sure there's a way that in your stuff, I don't know, I mean, you're very prolific. You're an expert at what you do, and you've done it at a level many people have never done. And I think you downplay that because that's sort of that's standard for you. You don't view that as extraordinary, when other people on the outside are like, oh my goodness, you're working with so and so. Oh, let me see your work. Oh wow, it's pretty clean, pretty good, pretty amazing. And so uh maybe you start thinking at this AI revolution in a different way, and who knows, might open up some doors for you, my friend.
I think you're right. I think
So,
something I haven't done in my career much is publish, right? So I obviously produce work for my clients, but I don't. Well, as of late, I've written a couple of things for LinkedIn, but maybe more of that when LLM goes out and uses my information to answer a question. They would have something to reference, right? They have a name to go with the comment or the ideal. So, yeah, that might be something. I mean, it's not going to stop me from using AI, because I'm afraid my stuff's going to be seen somewhere that I didn't quote unquote allow it. But I think that's just a progression of the technology. I don't think you could avoid that. If you can put your name on something and get credit for it, great. Maybe that's it.
yeah. Well, before I go to Christian and Zakia, one thing I was thinking is what people like you are very used to is portfolios.
Yeah.
Okay. So take that portfolio and do a write up with that image and write a case study. It can be simple, one page. And now that's searchable, crawlable. It's like you don't really have to go out and publish. Just talk about it. I mean, there's many people who talk into the transcription tool or Chat GPT or Claude, and it writes it for them. And then now you add it. You organize it, you clean it up, and all of a sudden, you're there, and you just put in your portfolio, but make it searchable, make it to where can be indexed by Google or some of these LLMs. And there you go. All of a sudden people are like, who's this Sam guy? I didn't know he existed. Well, hey, it's something to think about as a creator, right?
Absolutely.
So,
No, those are great thoughts. Yeah, appreciate that. And I did want to say thanks, Jim, for the Obsidian run through. I had not, I hadn't considered that, and I haven't been in on your other conversations, but I'm definitely gonna open that up and see if I can't create a vault for myself.
Hey, Jim, you're already having an impact, Jim. Look at that.
One at a time. I got Christian. I'm just, adding one more.
Yeah, love it.
One more. All right. All right. We're going to go with Zakia. Zakia, are you ready?
Sure. I'm sorry I can't be on camera. The question is by the end of the year.
Yeah. What's your plan? Between now and the end of the year, what are you gonna be doing with AI, or what are you looking to accomplish?
I think I want to move from using a collection of powerful AI tools to really operating like with a really, really intentional infrastructure behind me. Like I've started toying with this idea of an AI workforce, but more than that, I want whatever I build, like the software to be portable, my knowledge to be portable, and all of the roles that I'm having, like the question that you're asking, well, why do you use this tool over that tool? I want that to be pretty clear so that I can explain it and turn it into a methodology so that it's teachable. And I think I'm almost there. But my real goal is so that other non-technical business owners can do exactly what I'm doing without becoming developers and without making the mistakes that I've made. I've made the mistakes with 14 apps. So the next person who builds one should not have to trip over those same things.
All right. All right. Words of wisdom. Like Zakia says, I'm not the sage on the stage. Well, thanks for sharing your wisdom, because what I do believe is that there is wisdom in the room. And so thank you. Thank you. Christian, what say you?
Well, I wanted to make a comment to Sam. I missed the first part of it because my phone died, but I'm back now. My background's product, so I'm always thinking of product stuff. And I caught the tail end of what you were talking about, and it'd be cool, like if I were a client of yours and I wanted a certain design, and you say, okay, go to, use this link, go to my app, start pinning pictures that you like, and then have, kind of a vision board, design board, vibes board, whatever you call it. And then you could take those and then do sketches, maybe come up with different photos. And I think the automating part is you want to automate to make it smoother, but like it's like you adding your drawings is really what makes it unique and different than if somebody just prompts for mid-century modern, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that was my 2 cents on that.
That's a great angle. I hadn't considered that, but that might be the beginning of the conversation, and then jump on the phone. That's beautiful.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
And so what I'm want to do by the end of the year is one thing I talked about doing is this AI readiness assessment. So I've got my first kind of beta customer for that I'm meeting next week. So we'll see what I learn from that, and want to have that as kind of my lead in to pre-qualify. And I'm looking to work with small companies like between the 1 and 5 million range that are service-based businesses. Beyond that, I'm working on getting my company set up in the Claude partner network. And the reason for that is because then you get access to their certification training materials. And I want to get a couple of certifications, mostly because I want to understand things at a deeper level. So even if I'm not working at that deep level all the time, if I partner with somebody or hire somebody or have a contractor or something, I'll have enough kind of knowledge to understand how good they are or not. And that's all
Wow.
I'm going to say about that.
That's some pretty good. Hey, question for you. How difficult or easy it is to set up as a Claude partner? Is there any requirements that's like, okay, that's a requirement?
They do have some requirements, and but it's kind of fuzzy. I think it's pretty easy theoretically to get in there, but I'll let you know over the next week if I get in there or not, or if I don't, why. But they just want to know it's an actual business, and they ask a lot of questions around how many Claude customers do you have, what kind of things are you working on, and that sort of thing. Because from their standpoint, it's it's to help their sales, among other things. It's to if there's people out there using Claude with clients, it helps, I'm sure, feed their back end Salesforce or whatever they have internally. So I think it's not too difficult, but I'll let you know over the next week.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's inspiring. Let me see. So I got Jim, I got Zakia, I got Sam. I guess I'm the only one left, right? So, no, I want to just say thank you for all of you that showed up today. This is, where we learn from each other. What are we working on? And the AI Mastery Lab, uh, I'm, it's starting to, I started this thinking, where is it going to go? And didn't have an idea, but I said, hey, let's get started. And it goes to what Christian was saying. Hey, I got a beta customer. And I want to encourage all of us here on stage is to take what we do, couple it with AI, and just find one customer, just one, and pour everything into that person, learn within. Now you have a case study. And Zakia, we were talking in a group the other day, and because we're talking about what's the rates out there, what are people getting paid, and if you're doing your beta and your case study and and you're pretty good with AI and you're a master of your domain, you can easily charge $150 plus an hour. And remember, you probably want to sell that from a project perspective, but it gives you an idea what people are paying out there. And
Yeah.
once you have a few of those under your belt, now the rates that are being paid out there for people that are AI enabled plus they're a master of their domain is $300 to $500 an hour. So, and big business is eating that up. They need people like us that are here on this stage that have the business knowledge or the domain expertise, right? To help them and to help them with how do you fuse AI into that equation? Because all these companies have invested heavily in AI. Many of them are running around with Copilot license and nobody's using them, or ChatGPT license or Claude licenses, and they're not being used, as much as they should for the licenses they're buying. So, and then we're not even talking about at the technical level where there's some people that are deploying what we call forward deployment engineers. And that's a little bit more technical, but there's a lot of people out there that are looking for your domain expertise and you to that you are AI enabled and can help them get, from a business standpoint, bridge the gap between the tech part of AI and the business world. So I hope that is just find one customer, go deep with them, and let me share what I'm working on. I've worked a lot in my executive search firm in a lot with research and even other ideas on how to attack a problem right now with AI. So I'm going to continue that journey because I want to codify by the end of the year all my processes and procedures and actually extend that to what my product offerings are going to be. With AI, I think there's some really cool stuff I can do that looks different and is a solution to a problem that my customers currently have. So that's one thing I'm really working on right now. And it's actually manifesting already. There's a physician practice on the West Coast that wants me. They wanted first to hire a couple physicians, but now it's evolving to they need me to help them sell their physician practice, and that's a whole different ball game. That's called what we call business brokering, and where sometimes you say, "Hey, Bez, do you have that experience?" I mean, they ask me that experience. I say, I haven't directly on the outside sold a company, but I have done mergers and acquisitions, and that's where you're moving a company to in between another company, or it's an acquisition, or but not so much where I'm peddling a company. That's a slightly different, but there's a lot of similarities, and they're saying, hey, they still want to, we're still in negotiations. The other thing too, with AI I'm looking to create an app with my career coaching program. And then there's a couple, to help those in my program to automate some of the things that are pretty manual. And I've done that and I need to, update it, but I did that with the Dream 100, where, many clients are like, hey, who do I reach out to? Well, yeah, I run them through my Dream 100 bot, and it produced them not only 100 but 200 list of 200 of relevant companies, and it gave the contact name of the direct supervisor and then the functional leader, so the boss of the boss. So now you have a list to call on or reach out to. That you can do with AI. The other thing too, as I make headway into entrepreneurship, infusing that with the career coaching and the AI stuff I'm working on, because I am working on an AI offering that I'm looking to take a function out there in corporate America and come in to say, hey, I want to make, those that are currently in transition, uh, I want to AI enable you so that we can, I know there's positions out there right now that exist, and I'm going to get, I'm in the process where I'm going to go out and get letters of intent from customers that are ready to go if I have the people. And so part of that involves that I need instructors. And everybody here on this stage has agreed. I haven't talked to Sam about yet, but I'm going to bring him in. And there's some people not here tonight that have agreed to, my thing is, hey, if you can teach, I'll pay you. Absolutely. So more on that as I continue building it. That's what I'm trying to do before the end of the year. I've got a lot going on, but I'm super excited, and I think AI is helping me do a lot more with in the time I have, and so that's what I'm going to use AI for. I just want to say, does anybody have any final words before we shut this down? And by the way, when I end the stream, still stay on. Just want to have a brief postmortem with all of you. But any final words from anybody before we head on out?
Guys, I just want to say thank you for hosting these. It really gives us a chance because a lot of us are working like independently. So being able to bounce these ideas off and hear what others are doing is really, really helpful. So thanks for hosting these and another great discussion.
Well, thank you, Zakia. Thank you for sharing your what you're doing and what you just went through. Anybody else before we shut it down?
Yeah, thanks for pulling it together. I also enjoy learning from others, and hopefully can reciprocate that. So thank you.
All right. Well, good deal. Good deal. What I want to say is we've had about 10 people hanging out with us that I know of, or now 11. And I'll tell you this, most of them were on X. Right. There was one on Facebook where right now there's 11 people on X still hanging out with us. So seems to be a good place. I guess that's where all the tech people are, and it's been, this conversation has been resonating with them. So we'll try to have these more often. I've been averaging about once a month, but I'd like to have them every week if I can get into a rhythm like that. I think, summertime has been interesting, but now with fall around the corner, I think you'll probably see these every week, and maybe a couple times a week. But I'm trying to get these set up for Wednesday nights. And I've had some people that want to contribute and want to share their knowledge, and then we'll ask them a bunch of questions, and we'll all be better because of it. But Christian, Jim, Zakia, Sam, keep on that journey. Keep on doing the amazing things you do. All of you are on that frontier. You are the pioneers, and so looking forward to all the great things that we're going to learn from each other. All right. With that being said, you are. Somebody want to say something?
I was just getting ready to say goodbye or whatever you respond to whatever you were saying next.
All right. All right. Well, with that being said, the AI Mastery Lab was brought to you by the Leverage Career Collective, a premier a career coaching program for emerging leaders, senior leadership, and C-suite executives. If there's anything that you're interested in that aspect, please reach out to me. This is Bez Renhefo, and we'll see you on the flip side. Talk to you guys later. And I'm about to end this stream. Here we go.